Hey gang, how are you? Good morning to you. Hello, hello. Hope you're well this morning. It's a beautiful 63 degrees. Lovely, lovely. Hey Yvette, good morning to you. Hey John, good morning. Hope you're doing well. Karen, good morning to you. Hope you're having a good day. Good morning, everybody. Hope you're doing well. It's a good day here. It's a very good day. Excellent, thank you. Oh, very nice. Excellent. Good to hear. So, hope everybody's doing all right. If you hear a little noise in the background, we're actually starting to get the process of getting some storms on our office wing here. Super excited about that. When the wind blows through in the winter, it is pretty chilly. So I'm going to save a little heat and all that. So, but if you hear somebody banging around, probably what it is. Or it could also be the folks downstairs. We have a pretty robust soup ministry here. So the Blount Soups, as you probably mentioned, do a great job of donating soup throughout the city, and we've been a part of the distribution of that. So they donate the soup, and we get it to folks that need it. And so it's been a great partnership, and they're just an amazing company with the amount of food that they donate to the city and to those in need. It's really terrific. All right, good morning, everybody. It is the 10th day of May on this Wednesday, and I am glad you're here at 11:11. It is a wondrous day that is truly feeling like spring has sprung. And so I just want to I just want to talk about a simple line today, a simple line. Because because I really think it offers us something in this time. It illustrates a spiritual reality, and that I think there's always great strength these days in stepping into spiritual realities, because so much of our lives and so much of the world is actually kind of uh, fantasies. They're built into things that are not the logos, that are not the really real. Like I mean that I always think it's my son Ryan and I are rewatching the whole Marvel series, and it's been fun because he watched it when he was little. Now he's older, he gets some of the jokes, there's some other stuff, and he's appreciating it. It's kind of fun to appreciate it with him. But in that storytelling that's happening, there it is truly it is truly a fanciful kind of world. Like there's no question about this. It's superheroes, it's comic books, and although there is these beautiful there are these themes, and certainly the Christ theme is at play, as it is in all great stories that anybody wants to listen to. It's still this just kind of detached world from the wake up and brush our teeth and do the dishes kind of reality of our lives. And so um, you know and I think it says something about our world, that the fact that our entertainment is taking us to these characters that are truly gods. Like, I mean, yeah, there's Thor and that's Loki and those kind of, but they have the all of the characteristics of Old Testament gods, or ancient gods, small g gods, kind of that people would worship, and all that kind of stuff. Great strength, or ability to fly, or all this. You see this in the ancient world all over the place. So anyway, because so there's this way in which there's that it's almost a kind of bringing in a kind of a new paganism in a way, and that I don't mean that in a kind of as harsh as it sounds, but I think it says something to us about kind of what's going on in our wider culture and what's going on in our psyche about kind of where we find ourselves and what we make space for. And that's what I want to talk about, is this little line from James. Now, we got to set it up a little bit. That James, if we remember, James is back in Jerusalem. He's trying to pastor this church, little tiny church that has now been, that are basically the authorities are cracking down on, both the Roman authorities and the Jewish authorities in Jerusalem, and there's and so they're kind of split up into their pods. There are all these troubles that are going on, and so James is trying to give them some wisdom of encouragement in the midst of this. How do we be church? How do we be in connection with God when things are going poorly? And so, it's such a rich little book. We did a study on it a little while ago, and I think it's in some ways, I think it's very much a book for our time. But this is from James 4:8. It says, he says this. He says, so then this is getting on towards the end. He's kind of set all this up towards the end of the book. He says, "Draw near to God, and He will draw near to you." There's this reciprocity that happens. There's this reciprocal relationship with our desire and our willingness to draw near to God, and then the availability of God to draw near to us. And now part of that, and we can talk about why that is. I mean, I think that, anyone who loves you is going to take your cue for how close we might become in relationship. You know what I mean? If you're in a relationship, you're in friendship with somebody, and that there's this way, if they really care about you, they're not going to kind of kick your front door in at 7 a.m. and make you go to coffee, unless like you're in crisis or something. But there's different things. But there's this way in which they're going to take your social cues, they're going to take your invitation to say, "Oh, come over for coffee." Like, "Oh, okay, great, that would be awesome." And so there's this negotiation, because that's kind of how we love each other, right? As human beings, we're going to say, like, "I'm going to love you now," clonk you over the head and drag you home. That's not love. That we know that, and I know this is very simplistic what I'm talking about, but it actually has deeper ramifications. So stay with me on it. That God who wants a relationship with us is kind of operates in the same way. That you have all these scriptures that I stand at the door and knock, we find this numerous times, and there's this way in which that God's looking for the invitation to come into our life, and that if we desire to draw near, but the thing is, it's even more than that. It's more than desiring to draw near. It is actually drawing near. This is the thing about James. This is why Luther actually wanted James thrown out of the Bible, was this, because James is an action-oriented guy. These are things we can do. We can actually draw near to God. We can do that. Now, we can talk about different ways. There's the disciplines that we can engage in. There's prayer. There's fasting. There's meditation. There's all the kind of the traditional things we can do to draw near to God. And when we do those things, we're placing ourselves in a place. But it's really about, in essence, it's about what we make space for in our lives. And that when we make space, there's this way in which we'll draw near. I probably told you the story before, but I still contend, and this is 20 some odd years of reflecting back now, and the longer I live, the more true it's become. When I look back on my experience in seminary, I went to the Swedenborg School and I went to Andover Newton. I had really actually great education, I think, in a lot of ways. I mean, they prepared me for all they could prepare me for in many ways, But in that process, there was all of the learning that I had to do. We had to take Bible courses, we had to take theology courses, and we had to talk about Bible courses, talk about theology courses, take practical ministry courses where we go out and we learn how to do the things of the church. We learn how to be in church and with people as a person who identifies as a minister, and all of that. all of that stuff that we were doing. But I still contend to you, 25 years later, that the most important thing that happened in that 4+ years of my life, I crammed 3 years worth of school into 4.5, so it's kind of how I roll. That it was much more about the fact that I was opening myself to say, I was saying to God, rearrange my furniture, internal furniture. I was saying, I was drawing near to God. I had made a commitment to draw near to God. I said, okay, I'm going to go to seminary. I'm going to be a minister. I'm going to declare myself in this way, and I'm going to make an effort to move in that direction. And that when that happened, God took me seriously at that. There was this way in which my furniture started to get rearranged. That there was some internal redecorating that started to happen in that process, and in many ways it still hasn't ceased yet. But that this foundational truth that when we draw near to God, God will draw near to us. That it's not about, and this isn't about this, and this is about God always being ready to draw near to us. Now we can get a little bit problematic with this because we can get ourselves stuck, and this is Richard Rohr is great at pointing this out. He says we can get ourselves stuck in this idea that we think God will love us when we're good. And so we're waiting to be, so we're trying to fix our house up, we're trying to fix ourselves up, we're trying to kind of comb our hair and look pretty and make sure our soul is in some sort of repair so that God will love us. And that this isn't what this is pointing out. This is, if you listen closely, and we really need to take ourselves off of that hook, because it will only and ever hold us back. It will just lock us in place if we think we have to get all of our stuff together, if we think we have to become lovable. We're not that lovable. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry to tell you, but there's just things about you, there's things about me, that just aren't that lovable. That if we think we can get all those things right, boy, that's a lot. But that's not what this is saying. And so it's not saying, we have to get everything right so that God will love us. What Rohr points out is that God loves us so that we may be repaired. And that God and that willingness is simply our willingness to draw near. Our willingness to draw near with all of our warts, with all of our problems, with all the things we haven't figured out, with our temper, with our depression, with our lack of serotonin, with our whatever it is we've got going on, with all of the stuff, but our willingness to draw near. And that drawing near does actually require us, though, to create a little space. And so there's questions there's this foundational question, I think, about what are we making space for in these days? How are we creating our space in these days, in the living of our days? I think because this space question is so, to make some room for the one who made us, to make some room for the one who is calling us home, to make some room for the one who is desiring, who is the greatest of remodelers of the soul and desires to give us the greatest of makeovers. And our question is, how do we make room for that in this world in this kind of fanciful world we find ourselves in this crazy world we find ourselves, and so I want to suggest to us that as I've said before, that the sin of this age is the spiritual sloth, akadia. And akadia is when we say spiritual sloth, it doesn't mean that we're lazy. It means that we're inattentive. It means that we've lost our focal point on what's important or what isn't important, and so we've kind of numbed out. We've lost the thread to what's going on, and we're going through life. And it's very, very easy to do in modernity because there's so much flashy. There's so many good things to eat. There's so much stuff to take up our mind. There's so many ways to kind of anesthetize ourselves, or to have a glass of wine and a brownie and not have to worry about it. That all the different ways in which we can set ourselves up to simply not and make any space, to simply not to not take that step of drawing near, so that God can draw near. And so I love this little story. That there was this man that had been visiting a therapist, and he keeps going to the therapist because he has this fear of monsters that are living under his bed. Now, which is, he's an adult, but it's still, it's for some reason this has grabbed hold of him, and he's had this fear of these monsters that are living under his bed. And the man has been seeing this doctor for months, and they've been talking about things, and been kind of doing contact stuff, looking at pictures of monsters, and he said, made any progress? He said, no, I'm still afraid of the monsters under the bed. And then finally the man decided to go to see another doctor. And when he goes back to his original doctor, he says, have you made any progress? He says, yes, actually I'm feeling much better now. He says, what happened? He says, well, I went to see somebody else, and they cured me in one session. And the doctor was fascinated. He said, really? What did he tell you? He said, he told me to go home and cut the legs off my bed. The monsters of our days, the things that are preventing us from drawing near to God, are actually this thing that we're unconsciously creating space for them. It's kind of how this plays out, and this is part of that akadia thing about sloth, about it, again, not being lazy but being inattentive, not being able to see it. That there's actually these spaces that end up getting created in our life that end up being the places the monsters dwell. And that what drawing near to God, what making the effort, or making the spaces, making the time, making the place to draw near to God actually does, is it's the places that it ends up cutting the legs off of the bed, so that they're the places that it stops being a place for the monsters to dwell. So what I'm trying to get to today is this reality that when we draw near to God, and when we go through this notion that God's going to rearrange our internal furniture, and God will take us seriously in our moving near to Him, it is actually then that the monsters that the space the monsters dwell in starts to get compressed. It starts to get crushed. That the legs get cut off of the dwellings of the dark places. And it's not a one-to-one. This is what I'm trying to get to. It's not I'm afraid of this, or I'm worried about this, and so I need to go deal with this issue. That quite actually, if you haven't noticed by now, you are a whole and single person. You are a whole system which has a heart and a mind and a body and a spirit and a soul and predilections and a desire to eat cheesecake, and all these things are on board. And that actually works as an entire unit, and as does the creator of that person in that body, that works as an entire unit. The rationalists have got us like we just need to figure the problem out, or even the emotives have got us like we just need to feel it all, or whatever it is, or the materialists have given us like you just need to get the body right, and you just need to take the right pills, or you just need to have the right surgeries, or you need to look the right way, or do the right workout, and once you get the body right, all that. You're a holistic being. You've got all these things on board and more than I can articulate that are all working in concert and working, and that the angels and the Spirit are working with to heal and to bring and to remodel and to make you into the beauty of the image of God in which you were created to be. All of that is at work. And so that when we take that simple idea of just drawing near to God in whatever way, whatever simple, stupid, basic, 5 minute a day way, when we take that one tiny little step, it actually moves everything. It actually begins to reduce the place of darkness in our life where the monsters can dwell. It starts to move things around that we can never move around on our own. That actually, when God draws near to us, it means there is more light throughout our being in all components of it. That if we want to heal our bodies, or we want to heal our heart, or we want to heal our mind, or we want to put a piece of our life right, make a piece of our life right, in some ways the worst place to start is kind of dwelling on the thing that we like, oh, I'm so, this is so broken. Oh, look at how broken it is. It's so broken, that we can quickly turn that into a whole feedback loop that gets us stuck. But the simple act of drawing near to God, the simple act of drawing near to the light, lets the light draw nearer to us, and brings us all the healing and all the joy and all the goodness. Now I hope you don't hear this just as another one of these, you need to pray harder. You need to do the disciplines better. That take yourself off of this performance hook. Take yourself off of this worry hook. But simply make some space. Simply know that Christ stands at the door and knocks. Simply know that none of the transformation that you would hope for in your life is bound up in your getting it right or you're getting it wrong. But that all goodness is simply in this willingness to have this ongoing relationship, this willingness to have this drawing near to God, this willingness to kind of come out of the closet and dwell in the light. That it's my hope that all of the goodness, all of the wonders, all of the joys that are packed in that you can find some of them today. That you can find the beauty of them. That you can open yourself up to the kind of crazy disassociated reality of our world and say, yeah, okay, not that. To kind of point at it and just say, okay, not that. I want to draw closer to something that is really real, something that is something that has a face on it, that will laugh when I laugh and that will cry when I cry, something that will bring us a little bit closer and inhabit a little different space than perhaps the one in which we find ourselves locked or lost or difficult in. Because, as Roy says, it's not about us cleaning up our lives and cleaning up our act so that God can love us. It is about permitting God to love us so that God can clean up our act. Friends, I hope in the days ahead and in this hour that you can find and permit a little bit of that invitation, that knocking at the door that God has for your life, to open that, to maybe open it just a crack so that He will draw near to you. All right, that's my hope for you today, friends. One commercial. Tonight is our all church family night. So again, it's all church family. It's not family, like if you can't come if you don't have a family, and it's not all church, meaning like I have a family, so I can't go do this church thing. It's everybody. It means everybody in the church. We are coming together. The Reverend Dr. Greg Mobley is going to be with us. He is one of my favorite guys in the whole wide world. He's going to be talking some Old Testament. He's got a great theme. How do we sing the Lord's song in exile? So good. So good. So I hope you'll be part of it. 5:30 right here. We're going to have a meal, and he'll start talking at 6. You'll be out of here by 7. You got to eat. You got to eat, and we're gonna feed you a great meal. and we're gonna, and both for your body and for your soul. I hope you'll join us, no matter where you are. Come, you got hours yet. Still, you jump in the car. It'll be great. I hope in the days ahead. So we're looking forward to that tonight. All right, my friends. Peace and grace to you, and we'll pick it up tomorrow with another 11:11.